belly, ribs, and chest. Fill all the way up. Then exhale out as much air as you can. Chest, ribs, then belly. Breathe all the way in. Fill all the way up. And release as much air as you can. Your belly button moves towards your spine. Then inhale. Fill up. Exhale, release. Let's do one more big breath in. Fill all the way up. And release it all the way out. You could always breathe in and out through your nose or your mouth for this, whichever you prefer. Then you're going to reach your arms up over your head for a nice full body stretch. Reach, reach, reach for opposite walls. Good. Now you're going to walk both your hands and your feet over to the right side. So you're making your body into a banana shape here. Now maybe you stay right here. That should feel good. Or possibly you take your left leg and place it on top of your right leg. That's going to make it a little more intense stretch in your hip flexor. Keep your shoulder blades down, your hips down. Good. Then come back to center. And now take one deep breath in center. Good. Then you're going to walk your hands and your feet both over to the left-hand side. Shoulders and hips are still firmly planted. Your body's in the shape of a banana right now. And then if available, go ahead and lift up your right leg and cross it over your left to make it a little more intense in your hip flexor. If that's not feeling good, then remove the leg and just keep them straight. Last breath. Good. Now come back to center. And one more full body stretch. Reach for opposite walls. Good. Then you're going to swoop your arms down by your sides, bend your knees, and plant your feet on the mat. Hands are going to hug in closely for bridge. So we're going to start with a moving bridge. Plant your feet firmly into the mat. Maybe you can walk them a little closer to your body. Then inhale, lift your hips. And exhale, lower your hips down to a hover. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hover. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hover. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hover. Let's do 3 more. 2. And this time you're going to hold your bridge. So inhale, lift your hips and hold. You can press firmly into your hands and forearms. Press firmly into your feet. Lift your hips up high in the air and breathe. Our breath here. Good. Then slowly bring yourself back down to seated. And you're going to bring both knees into your chest and then rock from side to side. Good. Now you'll come back to center and I'll give you some options. If it's available to you, you can rock and roll your way up to seated. So this is an option. Your other option is going to be just gently roll onto your side and then prop yourself up to a seated position. So up to you how you get seated. Just find your way there. Good. And next what you're going to do is go ahead and do some neck circles. So all the way around, nice and slow and controlled. I want you to pause if you feel any areas of tension. And one more circle this direction, then you'll reverse. Opposite way. Nice and slow. Pause if you feel that tension. And one more. Good. Now come back to center. And you're going to bring hands to your sides. Then inhale, lift your left arm up. And exhale, side bend. Inhale, up to center. Right arm up. Side bend on your exhale. Inhale up. Exhale, side bend. Inhale up. Exhale, side bend. And continue on your own. And let's do 2 more each side. Last time. And back up to center. Good. Next, you're going to make your way to a tabletop position here. And roll through a few cow-cats. So firmly press into your index finger and your thumb and all the flesh in between. Knees should be right underneath your hips and wrists right underneath your shoulders. Then you're going to go for that cow-cat. So inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest and your tail and your chin. Then exhale, round your spine. Start from the tailbone and work your way forward. Then exhale, unravel from the tail. And again, work your way forward. Good. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And last time. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Good. Then inhale back to your tabletop position. Good. Then you're going to tuck your back toes underneath and lift your hips up into downward facing dog. So in your downward dog, go ahead and pedal your dog. Walk your feet out a little ways. Good. And then you're going to slowly walk your feet up towards your hands. Forward fold. Now inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, arms overhead. And you're going to interlace all your fingers except your index finger is going to point straight up. Good. And you're going to tick-tock your body. 1, 2, let's go for 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good, then come back to center. Now you're going to bring your hands to your low back. And they can go to your low back as if they're going to fit into jean pockets. Good. Then you firm into your feet. Engage your quads, your glutes, and your core first. Okay, then breathe in, lengthen your spine, and you're going to go for a slight back bend. So maybe your slight back bend is simply looking up. That might be all the back bend you need. If you're not doing back bends regularly, I really want you to just lift your chin and look up. Beautiful. And breathe. But get those straight legs, firm core, firm glutes, and firm quads. Last breath. Good. Then you'll come back to center. Inhale, arms overhead. Interlace your fingers, except the index finger points up. And this time you're going to inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, side bend and hold. Really keep your spine and your neck nice and long here. And we'd rather you do a less side bend than bring this into a twisted position, okay? We really want a side bend. So if you're twisting, maybe you need to prop yourself back up a little ways and make this side. Good. One more breath. Then inhale back up to center, lengthen up first, and exhale, side bend the other way. Again, keep both shoulders square, spine and neck long, hips are all to the front of the room. You're not twisting or forward bending, you're side bending. 2 more breaths. Good, then inhale back up to center, and you're gonna exhale, bring your hands to your low back once again. This time we'll go for a slightly deeper back bend, really firm into your feet, your quads, your core. Then you're going to look up first. Maybe you can find a little more back bend now. Maybe you can bring your shoulders back in space. And breathe. Still keeping this very small and very gentle. Something doable for you. It's going to look different for everyone. 1 more breath. Good. Then you'll come back up to center. Inhale, arms overhead. Interlace your fingers. Now this time do the awkward lace. So what that means is you're going to put your opposite finger in front. So normally when I lace my fingers, my right middle finger goes in the front. So this time I'm going to take my left middle finger in the front. So then you will inhale, reach your arms up, lengthen up. And now option, you can stay here with your straight legs, or you can take your right leg back behind your left. And then whichever leg's behind, you want to bend the opposite way. Okay, so inhale, lengthen up, my right leg's behind. So I'm going to lean to the left. Good. And this is going to create a nice, intense stretch in your hip flexors. Again, kind of like we did the banana on the floor. Good. And 2 more breaths. Good. Then you're going to inhale back up to center. If your legs are crossed, keep them crossed. If not, then just fold forward. Either way, fold forward with your legs straight or crossed. Try to keep your knees as straight as comfortable. Maybe they need a generous bend, but the idea here is to get that hip flexor stretch of the right side once again. Good. Then inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Now you're going to uncross your right leg if it's crossed. Bend your knees and bring yourself back up to standing. Inhale, arms overhead. Interlace your fingers, the awkward lace once again. Then inhale, lengthen up. And now if you did so on the other side, you're going to take your left foot back behind your right. Maybe you just keep your legs straight. That's fine too. Inhale, lengthen up. And exhale, side bend over to the right side if your left leg's behind, or just the opposite side you already did. Still, keep your shoulders and your hips to the front of the room. 1 last breath here. Good. Now you're going to come back up to center and exhale, fold forward, whether your legs are crossed or not. And feel that intense stretch in your left hip flexor now, and the back of your left calf. Good. Then you'll inhale, halfway lift. Now exhale, fold. Then uncross your legs, bend your knees, and rise to standing. Inhale, arms overhead. Then exhale, hands to your low back, like they're going into your jean pockets. 1 more supported back bend. You're going to really firm into your feet, engage your quads, your glutes. Now, when I say your core, I want you to knit your ribs. Instead of sucking your tummy in, try to suck your ribs, your front ribs towards one another. So really think of that when we're engaging the core. Firm into feet, quads, glutes, core. Lengthen in your spine. Then exhale, lean back just a little further than the first 2 times. Wherever it feels good for you, bring yourself to a slight challenge. that's not causing pinching or pain. A little soreness, a little discomfort's okay, but no pinching, no pain. One more breath. Good. Then inhale back up to center. Arms overhead, palms are going to face each other. Then exhale, sink into your chair, sit back. Breathe in. And exhale, fold forward. Good. Now inhale, halfway lift. Then exhale, send your right foot back now for a warrior one. So your back foot's at that 45-degree angle. Your front knee is bent. Maybe it takes a little time to sink into this pose. That's okay. Take your time. Now, if your hips are wanting to open up, I'm going to turn this way so you guys can see really well. So your hips should be spun. So my hip points are right here, so they're spun to the front of the room. This naturally, our body wants to do this in this pose. So what I like to say, let's start with your chest. Move your chest, and it might bring in a slight twist. That might feel good. And then your hips will eventually follow. Just start with the chest here. Feel what that feels with, and your hips will want to follow you with time. So just really get used to your chest being straight front first. Good. Then arms overhead. This is a really great pose for that hip flexor. Again, working a lot with the hip flexors today, the psoas, and all those muscles of the hips. One more breath. Breathe in, lengthen in your arms. And then exhale, open up to warrior two. So you're going to spin your back foot till it's parallel to the short edge of your mat. And maybe your stance goes a little bit wider. So I'm going to turn this way and demonstrate that transition here. So warrior one, then you're going to pivot your back foot and bring yourself to warrior two. Now I'll turn this way. Good. And hold. Now here you have your hips nice and open, nice open hip flexors. Really squeeze into your core, knit your ribs in and forward, then pull your tailbone down towards the mat. Two more breaths. Good. Then reverse warrior. So you're going to flip your left palm up to the ceiling and reach back. Your backhand has very little to no weight resting on your leg. And this is a side bend here. We're bringing in a side bend today. Good. One more breath. And then back to your warrior two. Good. Now from warrior two, I want you to pivot onto the ball of your back foot, high crescent lunge. Again, you should feel this intense stretch in the front hip flexor again. Really great. Now, if you're having trouble with balance, looks like I'm having a little trouble with that today. So you can feel free to stay here in high lunge, or you can lower your back knee down for a low crescent lunge. And hold. 2, 3, 4. Good. 2 more breaths. Good. Then plant your hands on the mat. Tuck your back toes under. Lift your back knee, and you're going to step your back knee to meet your front and forward fold. Good. Now inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Arms overhead. Palms are facing each other now. Then exhale, chair. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold forward. Now inhale, halfway lift. Then exhale, step your left foot back this time for a warrior one, opposite side. So as you can see, the back leg is nice and straight.
Nice long, lean lines there. If you need a slight bend in your knee, that is okay. We don't want to lock it out, but you do want your leg nice and straight as it goes. Again, take your time to sink into this pose. Spin your chest forward first and allow the hips to follow later. Back foot's at the 45-degree angle, and you're pressing into the knife edge side of your back foot and the heel of your front foot. And you're pressing them so hard that you're trying to draw them together. Draw your front heel and the back heel towards one another. This is going to create the front hip moving backward and the back hip moving forward. One more breath. Good. Then inhale and exhale, pivot open to warrior two. So your back foot, again, goes from 45 to parallel to the short edge of your mat with your nice open hips. Now I'm going to turn this way so you can see my face. Good. And then really squeeze in the core, tailbone down. 2 more breaths. Good. Then you're going to reverse warrior. So you flip your right palm up to the ceiling, then reach back. Nice side bend, very little weight in your backhand. Remember, 1 more breath. And then back to your warrior two. And now you're going to pivot to your high crescent lunge. So onto the ball of your back foot. Both hips again are to the front of the room. Back knee can as straight as it can go, but it is okay to have a bend in it. Again, if you're having a little trouble with your balance, then you can lower your back knee down for this nice intense stretch. Feel free to have your hands on your thigh of your front foot or up in the air, whichever works best for you. Just feel that nice stretch in your hip flexor and breathe. 2 more breaths. Good. Then you're going to place your hands on the mat, tuck your toes and lift your back knee, then step your back foot to meet your front, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Arms overhead, palms face each other. Then exhale into chair. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Now inhale, halfway lift. Good, then plant your hands. Now walk your feet back to a plank position. So feet all the way back, shoulders right over your wrists, and hold for 2 breaths. Nice tight core. And exhale. Now slowly lower all the way down to the mat. And you're going to allow your right cheek to rest on the mat. Your arms go down by your side. Right underneath your shoulders for a cobra pose. Your chin goes to the center. Then you're going to squeeze your legs together nice and tight. And you press the tops of your feet so firmly into the mat, your kneecaps lift up. Hopefully you can see that, but my knees are down, and then I press into the mat and my kneecaps lift. Good. Chin's in the center of the mat. Nice big inhale. And then on your exhale, you're going to lift your chest. Try to use your back muscles. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. You could float your palms. That's how little work your hands are doing. It's all in your back. 2 more breaths. Good, then slowly lower down. Now left cheek rests on the mat. Palms by your head. And take a few breaths. We'll take about 5 or 6 breaths here. So just really release any muscle working. Right below your shoulder blades. We're going to do one more set of Cobra with an option to modify. So legs together nice and tight. Press into the tops of your feet first. Inhale deeply. Then exhale, lift into Cobra. Use your back muscles as much as you can. Maybe give your hands a slight little float. Now, if you're feeling really good here and feeling like maybe you can take this a little deeper, a little further, so it's perfectly acceptable to stay right here. This is a really great place to stay. Or you can press your hands softly into the mat and bring yourself to full Cobra. So you're still using your back muscles and your hands are helping just a little. But still press firmly into the tops of the feet to lift those kneecaps up. Breathe in and out. One more breath. Good, then lower down. Right cheek rests on the mat, arms by your side. Your chin stays on the mat. Maybe you can lift your legs a little bit more. Good, then lower. Release. Locust pose. And hold. One more breath. And slowly lower down, right Your hands right underneath your shoulders. You're going to press yourself up to a high kneeling position. Good. We're going to go for a camel pose here. So for camel pose, it's kind of like the back bend we started out with. Options are to have your hands like they're in the jean pockets. You could also do fists if you prefer fists here. And so what you're going to do is really firm into your knees first, engage quads, glute, tight, knit in those ribs. Really squeeze the ribs in towards each other, towards the core. Good. Then inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, see what you can do with your back bend. Maybe it's like our second back bend we did to start. So it's just a little bit more than lifting the chin. Good. And your hips stay lengthened. Good. And pressing forward. Hips are lengthened and pressing forward. 2 more breaths. Good. Then come back to center. And you're going to sit back on your heels. Good. And then maybe let's just take a little twist. Side to side. 3, 4, 5. We'll go for 8, 6, 7, 8. Good. Now we're going to go for camel pose. This time I'm going to show you the full pose camel, and then I'll show you where you can modify or make this your own. So I just want you to watch for now, okay? So for camel pose, firm your knees into the ground, lengthen your hip flexors. Then I'm going for full camel pose. You're going to reach your arms back to your heels and then come into your back bend here. So this is your nice full camel. Your hips are pressing forward. You're holding onto your heels. You have a lot of options to bring the floor closer to you. One option is going to be come onto the toes of your feet. That is going to bring your heels up off the floor. So it brings the floor a little closer to you. Next option is going to be to take a couple of blocks, or maybe you have books. That works as well. You are going to place those really close to your ankle bones, maybe a little bit further back than your ankle bones. Good, and they're going to be right next to your feet, like touching your leg or your feet. Good, and then you're going to reach one arm back to the block, other arm back to the block. Great. This is another way to do camel pose. This would be considered a full camel pose. This is also a camel pose. So whatever you can do, whatever feels good on your spine today, because it's going to be different every day, and that's okay too. Good. So find your camel wherever you feel most comfortable and hold for 2 more breaths. Good. Now you'll come back up to kneeling. You can move the blocks out of the way if you have those there. And you'll take your hands nice and flat to the creases of your hips here. Okay, then you're going to go into a child's pose. So sit back on your heels and lower your head down. Your arms go down by your sides. This is called embryo pose. This is the counter pose to camel. So it's child pose with your hands in between your hips. And you just breathe. Breathe into your low back. Two more breaths. Good. Now come back up to kneeling. You're going to bring your legs out ahead of you. Feet as wide as your mat. Then hands go back behind you. And you're just going to windshield wiper your legs either direction 10 times. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Then you're going to scoot forward on your mats and lower yourself all the way down to your back.
And once you get there, go ahead and bring your knees into your chest and rock side to side for a nice little low back massage. Really feel your low back press against the floor. Enjoy the pressure of the floor. 2 more breaths. Good. Then you come back to center, and you're going to place your hands right on your kneecaps. Good. And then take some knee circles. We're going to do 5 in each direction. 3, 4, and 5. Good. Then opposite direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Bring knees back into chest. And then you're going to take your feet up towards the ceiling, legs at the wall. Good. Hands can be down by your sides or out in a T or cactus shape. Any comfortable position for your arms. And you'll just hold here for about 4 more breaths. Last breath. Good. Now one more time, bring your knees into chest and rock side to side. Then you'll come back to center and you're going to pick up your head, curl your toes, your feet, work every muscle in your body, squeeze the legs, arms, back, chest, face is furrowed, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then exhale, release everything down, long and wide to your final Shavasana. Breathe your natural breath. Eyes are closed, palms face up. Now allow your head and your feet to fall where they want. Allow your breath to come naturally. Allow yourself to release any thoughts and let them drift like clouds in the sky. Now notice your heels, your calves, and your glutes heavy on the mat. Notice your hands, your forearms, and your shoulders firmly planted on the mat. Notice how your head sits heavy where you are. Allow each part of your body to release any work, any tension. Now imagine you're being bathed with a bright, beautiful sun. The sun is shining down upon you, and it's almost as if you're being charged, like you're being plugged in as the sun feeds you energy, vitamins, and love. Enjoy this time basking in the sun. And now you can begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe you rock your head side to side and take wrist and ankle circles. Let's bring in some movements, some deeper breathing. Ready, no sooner you're going to roll onto one side. Whichever side feels most open to you. Take a minute to hug your knees in and be grateful to your back for everything your back has done throughout your life. It's carried you through so much. It's been there for you. And one more breath. And then take your hand and prop yourself up to seated with eyes closed. Then you're going to inhale, arms overhead, palms meet each other. Now reverse your palms and slowly press the air around you away. Nice and slow. Can you feel the air that your arms are moving through? Can you smell that air? Taste that air. Maybe you can see the color of the air or hear your arms moving through it. And then hands to heart center. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you today. I honor and appreciate the light inside of you. Namaste. Thank you, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye now.